Hey, guess where I am? We haven't done this for a while. I am at BMW Motorrad in Falmouth, and today I'm going to be riding this! Look at this little rascal! This is the 2022 version of the S1000XR, which we've done a few times now, but there's a few tweaks that have been made to this, but it's just nice to get out and have a ride of one, isn't it? So let's get on it! Here we are, riding through Falmouth, nice sunny day, a bit chippy. I'm on the S1000XR, S1000, or whatever it is. Well, I've done this bike a few times. First time we took it out, I'd got about 10 miles on it, and the vibration on the handlebars was just too much for me. So we didn't give it a very good rating, and the problem was the handlebars had such vibration level on them, which BMW addressed. Actually, they knew about it, and I believe they had to fill the handlebars with lead shot. I mean, because it was already got bar ends on it, but to take the vibration out, which apparently they did on the next upgrade. They changed something on the handlebars, and the vibration was limited. I've got to say, this new version of the bike has zero vibration on the handlebars at all, which is fantastic, because I love this bike. I really do like it. I mean, it's a real hoon to ride. Unfortunately, we're in traffic, and I'm not really sure we're going to be able to get out and hoon it around a little bit. Anyway, so 165 brake horsepower this is, 1000cc engine. It's the same engine it's in the S1000RR, just detuned a little bit, made to run a little bit smoother. We've been through all this before. I think that some of the problems we discussed on the last bike we had have been addressed as well. There were paint issues. But you know, these bikes are awesome. They're really, really nice bikes. It's I've had a mate of mine had one on a tour to Croatia, and when it came past you, my God, the exhaust was just howling. It was just like an angry beast had been unleashed, and it sounded fantastic. Now, I've always had an issue with the luggage on this kind of bike, because I feel the luggage is a bit small, and it's one of those compromises you have. You know, they say it's a sport tourer, but you know, how much luggage you're going to be able to carry, I don't know. So it's got the TFT screen that all BMWs have got at the moment. Nice big screens, really easy to read, loads of different menus on it, and I'm just trying to scroll through it now and see what it's doing. My last time I rode this, well, I had one when my bike was being serviced, and it was doing about 48 miles to the gallon. Now, I wasn't being gentle with it, I've got to admit, because you know, that was the way it was. So I'm guessing, you know, if you're on a tour, something like that, it'll do upwards of 50 odd miles an hour, as long as you're not screaming down autobahns and things like that, because it's a bit of a thirsty engine, but it's a 1000cc engine, so you have to accept that, and that's part of the deal, isn't it, I suppose. But typical screen, you know, and when you start this bike up, what it does straight away is it limits the amount of revs you can put on the bike. You get a big line comes across the TFT screen, and it's limited to about 4,000 RPM till it warms up, and as you go quicker, or as the engine warms up, then the red line sort of sneaks back up to its normal running position. So at the moment it's just above 8,000 RPM, the red line, and it's just gone to 8.5. Well, it's gone to 9,000 now. But I love this bike. It's such a comfortable bike. The seat, I think, is amazing on it. you feel like it's cosseting you, it's shoving you into the tank. You feel like you don't move at all, and when you're riding it on bends and things like that, you feel part of the bike, so you actually feels like you're sat inside it. The only downside of it that I found, I've seen when I've been on tour and people have had these, if they've got a pillion, the pillion sits really quite high. And I had one couple who had a bike the same colour as this on a tour, and she was quite a tall lady anyway, and she was just being buffeted the whole time as a pillion. I mean, it's great for a rider, but you know, perhaps that's something you need to take into account when you buy this kind of bike, if you're going to be riding with a pillion a lot, particularly if you're going to be touring. But it's just got a tinted screen on it. The screen is really easy to operate. It's just a simple flick up and flick down. I've found that I've got it on the high setting, but I have found that when you're out riding, it actually works really, really well. And it doesn't have winglets to deflect the air, but it has these little bits here, and they do a really good job of that. And where you sit on the bike, your knees are tucked into the tank, almost like they curve over the tops of your thighs, and that gives you really good weather protection as well. So, you know, for riding in crap weather, this is a really good bike, and I have ridden it in horrible weather, and it works very well. It's a lovely riding position. It's nice. You've got the sort of best of both worlds here. It's a nice upright riding position like you get on an adventure bike, something like that, and it's just got a sports bike feel about the way it rides. The quick shifter on it is very impressive. It's very smooth, buttery smooth actually. So you might notice in front of me I've got Toby, and he's, like I said before, he's on this electric bike, the new BMW electric scooter, and he's looks like something out of Tron. But he's only just got on it, and he's already smiling like an idiot, like a three-badge rock ape, as they say in the Navy, because he really likes it. And the last time we rode one, I did the review on it, and I loved it. So it's his turn this time, and I think he's a convert. So back to this bike, like I say, 160 brake horsepower, comfortable bike. The luggage, if it just clips on, it's like it's a pre-built luggage thing. You don't have to put racks on it or anything like that. It's there, and it's colour coded. Now I saw it the other day. I was really disappointed when we got here today and they said, oh, you can take out this red bike, because a couple of days ago I was having my bike serviced, and there was an S1000XR in there that was in the BMW white and blue and red colour scheme, and it had colour matched panniers as well, and it looked absolutely stunning. I was thinking, oh, that'll be amazing for a video, and it's not there. I think somebody's bought it. How disappointing is that? So this has got all the usual stuff. It's got cruise control, which works fantastically. Simple thing there, you just switch it on and press it and off it goes. And I use that a lot. Don't use it down below 30 miles an hour, but it works really well. I think it's almost a vital thing now on new bikes, you know. And that was the only saving grace this bike had when I first rode the very first version of it. The fact that I could put the cruise control on, at least take the vibration out of my hands. But we're doing 3,000 RPM, 30 miles an hour here. No vibration on the handlebars at all. It's very comfortable. Suspension's not soft, but it's not hard. But it's very tight, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but it does to me. The suspension level is set at can be set to be automatic, which is very nice. So that changes the height, works out how heavy you are, what you've got on board, you know, your pillion, your luggage and all that kind of stuff, and it'll adjust the suspension accordingly. You've also got road version of it, dynamic. The dynamic is 10 tightens the suspension up again, so when it's just in road like this, which is feels quite solid, it's more of a like cruising along the dual carriageway sort of thing. And if you're going to go on off roads, I've just switched it to dynamic now, and instantly you can feel the suspension firms up and gets a bit more hard for bends and things like that.
Well, this is a nice red bike.
This is, guess what it is?
A float bike.
There you go. I couldn't remember what it's the S1000XR, isn't it? This is the 2022 edition of it. We've ridden the very first one and we hated it because it vibrated so badly. I was saying it when I was driving along. They've addressed that. They addressed that with the second version, and then they did it again. And now when I'm riding this, no vibration on the handlebars. So I love this bike. I love so much this bike. It's gorgeous. There were issues on the last one we looked at where the paint was all mottly on the engine. I don't know if you remember that. It was all like coming off, and it was something to do with the EU said you can't use certain types of paint and everything. Obviously they've overcome that problem now because it doesn't look like that's an issue anymore. I love this bike. The exhaust sounds absolutely gorgeous, and I say my mate Rich was on a tour with us. He just got one, and when he went past it accelerating, it was howling. It's the best way to describe it. It was a howl, you know. And it always amazes me that people go, yeah, I've put an aftermarket exhaust there. I'm thinking, people with more brains than I've got work out what the best exhaust sound is for your bike, you know, and then you go and ruin it by putting something else on, you know. In my opinion, sounds gorgeous. Very little has changed with it. It's 160 or 165 brake horsepower, and it's a monster. I mean, it's the S1000RR engine, just detuned to fit this. It's a sport tourer. It's really comfortable. The seat, when you looked at this, you went, it cups your buttocks lovely, which it does because it's like that. And
you're in it, aren't you?
You're in it, and you're sat with your, I won't show you my gammy hands, you're sat right underneath here, and the weather protection I think is phenomenal, because even though your legs are under here, this comes over the top of your legs, and you know, you would get a lot of protection from it. You've got these little winglets here that are on the GSAs and GSs and things like that. They're little plastic bits that flop around, that, you know, flap out. This is a solid piece of plastic, and the screen works really well, and the screen is adjusted just very simply by doing that.
Wow.
Which is great. GPS mounted on a bracket above the TFT screen. TFT screen is standard BMW fare. Difficult to see in the...
Oh, they've got different colours though for the XR.
They have, yeah. And one thing I pointed out, when it first started, the red line here is just after 10,000 RPM. It's limited to what revs you can use it when you first get it. And as you drive along and the engine warms up, you see the red line creeping back.
Oh, okay.
So the power band on this is, I think the red line goes up to about 10,500. So the power band is like between 4,500, 7,000, somewhere like that, which is ideal. Second gear, 30 miles an hour, it's burbling along, loving it, but it doesn't want to burble. It's a beast, it wants to go quicker. I've had a few people on tours with me who've had these bikes, and in my experience they don't seem to keep them very long for some reason. I don't know why. My mate Rich had one and he thought the electrics were problematic on it, which is a bit of a shame. But it's just a nice bike. The luggage you could get for it, I've always complained about the luggage, it's very small. Yeah. And it's live luggage, so it just clips in there.
Is that the Vario luggage, is it? Or
no, it's like, it's almost, it's colour coded. Yeah. It's the same angular shape as this, but it's a bit small, I think. And the big top box that goes on the top looks like one of those big RT ones, which is huge, and I think it makes the bike look a bit weird. But there's a backrest on it for people to sit on it. Brings me to another issue. Okay. If you're going to buy this bike and have a Pillion on it, you need to really think if it's the right bike for you, because I had a couple on tour, had the same sort of bike, same colour. She was a bit taller than most ladies, and she sat on the back and she was getting buffeted the whole time because her head was above the riders all the time. It was great for a view, but when he was riding quickly, she felt very uncomfortable. And I used to see her gripping onto this, you know, all the time, which is not good. So think about that if you're going to buy it. but you know, it comes with a hugger, nice big Metzler tyres on it. I think they are Road Techo ones, which are
Favourite.
only awesome. This bike has got running lights on it down here, which are great. When the bike first came out, remember it only had one headlight that was lit.
Oh, it's got two.
And now it's got two.
Oh,
So
it looks like it means business.
it does. Well, it does. Nice small. I think it's a 17-inch front wheel.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a really nice bike. Now, suspension on it. It's got lots of different modes, as you would imagine. It's got dynamic and road and rain, and you can alter the suspension for road or dynamic. Road is for as if you're riding on a dual carriageway or a motorway, something like that. You know, it's still very stiff, but when you tighten it up and put it on dynamic for if you're going around twisters and things like that, it changes the whole layout of the bike. It really does make a big difference. You can feel instantly the bike's like, oh, you know, I want to go. So, a few changes, few tweaks. The quick shifter on it.
What's that there?
Hang on, I ain't got that far.
Oh, okay.
A few changes on it. Excuse me. The quick shifter is like buttery. That's the best way to describe it.
Like a wet otter's pocket.
No, that's because that's just damp. No, it's awesomely smooth and it's really nice to use, you know, and up or down it's great. Now let's talk about this because you've mentioned it. What lives in here?
I don't know.
Nothing.
No, but there's space for your key. Or a few euros. Or a garage opening door key. But,
thingy.
Yeah.
There you go, so that's what that's for. Enough.
It's better than the BMW, the GSA. Actually.
I think so.
You've got a click there rather than having a
twisty thing.
Yeah.
Fuel tank I think is about 18 litres. Range is probably about 200 miles, just a bit more than 200 miles. At the moment it's got 3/4 of a tank and it says the range is 130 miles. So if we say 200 miles, a ballpark figure. Standard BMW wing mirrors on it. Wing mirrors, people laugh when we call them wing mirrors. That's what they are though, isn't it? Wings.
They're like wing mirrors, aren't they?
Really good view out of them. They're not obstructed by your shoulders or anything like that. It's fitted with the SOS button. We all know how good that is.
Hello.
Hello.
Is everything okay?
BMW Munich. So, what's not to like? Cruise control, all the bells and whistles you would imagine on a bike like this. Awesome. I love it. I want one, but I don't want one, but I want one. It's a chain. I'm happy. I'm confused. So, if you like the video, give us a massive thumbs up. And subscribe to us. Toby will put all the details on of what it's all about, as he does, because I'm obviously the face of the channel. And we'll see you in the next video.